The 4W Initiative, towards a model of collective leadership and well-being for universities in Africa. Welcome, everyone. I'm really happy to be speaking to you today about the 4W Women in Wellbeing Initiative and our feminist leadership model that we've used to make change at UW-Madison and are excited about sharing with universities around the world. And I'm here presenting with my colleague. Debbie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Laurie. Hi, everyone. I'm Debbie Kaddu-Serwadda, and I work with Laurie as the 4W Director for Africa.
Thanks for being here, and we hope you enjoy our presentation. The 4W Initiative leverages the strength of UW-Madison to be a convener and leading voice in education, applied research, and impactful engagement to promote gender equity, global well-being, and the full participation of women in society. Our motto, our slogan, our goal is to make life better for women, and in so doing, make the world better for all. So it's very appropriate at this point in our history that we start thinking about how to engage with universities around the world so that we can learn more and share what we've learned and grow together in the international community. We have a leadership circle of scholars from around campus that includes almost all of our schools and colleges and embraces science, social science, the humanities, and the arts. And that broad interdisciplinarity is a very important part of the 4W model. We have three core activities that we would be recommending to other programs who wanted to foster well-being related to gender in the way that we do. First, we catalyze research to action projects. These are change-making projects that are evidence-based and that include advocacy. Second, we host platforms for change-making and for sharing of ideas, from conferences to fora to webinars to various kinds of working groups, including programs of the arts. And third, we support change makers in action with small grants and with circles of affinity and support so that people can really find collaborators, share their strengths, and learn from others. 4W takes place under the auspices of the UNESCO Chair on Gender, Well-Being, and a Culture of Peace. This is the only UNESCO chair in the world that brings these three things together: gender, health and well-being, and peace. And we're really proud to create that space for learning with the leadership of Araceli Alonso and Teresa Lango de Paz in order to be able to think about global networks for change. We've begun to articulate a feminist leadership philosophy, and by asking ourselves questions like, what is feminist leadership? How can we practice it? How can we practice it better? And how can we practice it in higher education? That is a really important space. It's where we are. And while we all have many dimensions to ourselves, really thinking about putting the university to service to make change in society is what we're about. And I'm going to share some ideas from an article that we published as part of this global network of UNESCO chairs on gender. So there's kind of four components to the 4W philosophy and practice. One of them is gender analysis, making sure that we really look at how identity and power come into play in our world and in our well-being. The second is feminist leadership. The third is voice and agency and centering the lived experiences of people. And the fourth is holistic well-being. And here we have our well-being model. We call it the LIFT model. Lifelong health, human interconnection, freedom and safety, and thriving. And this model connects all of our projects to each other and facilitates a very nuanced, specific, and integrated idea and holistic idea about well-being, which is a big part of the 4W model, because we're not just treating academics as academics. Academics are people with lives, with needs for support, with voices, and they have parts of their lives where they're studying, parts of their lives where they're doing advocacy for change. Knowing that this is an audience of feminist scholars, I just want to share a few of the models that we consulted as we thought about the feminist leadership praxis, considering Martha Nussbaum's work and capabilities, the feminist leadership diamond of Srilata Bhattiwala, also thinking about Shauna Wakefield's work, and also the 6 life principles of womanism. So as you look here, I'm going to just highlight, things that maybe came out to me as special. Martha Nussbaum, special in so many ways, but the right to play, the right to leisure time, so important for women. When we think about the leadership diamond, this idea that we always need to be context specific and context sensitive in our work, that's a really important message as we think about collaborations with scholars and leaders in Africa. When we think about transformative feminist leadership, this idea of modeling what we're championing, and also challenging norms, thinking in an integrated way, these are all also very important. And then, of course, the liberatory and spiritual elements of the womanist philosophy are a big part of what inspires our circles, because we do start with connecting and sharing and love and authenticity, for lack of a better word, right? When we think about our projects, we begin with leadership. We begin with identifying women in our academic communities and the work they're already doing, and how can we support them and help their work be stronger. We want to address compelling needs. We want to make sure there's leadership in our university, and we want to make sure there's potential for scale. Our projects need to meet all 3 of these criteria. We can do a lot in a lot of spaces, but when we're in an institution of higher ed, we want to be mindful of all of these 3. Just to give you a feeling of what the Catalyst projects look like, this is our Global Artisans Initiative. Leaders Jennifer Angus, Carolyn Callenborn, and Leslie Sager working around the world to engage with women who have artisan skills and to help them take their work to the next level, either artistically or financially, so that they can have vibrant markets and livelihoods that they can really count on. And this has been an incredibly rich collaboration. The 4W Streets program focuses on eliminating human trafficking through education and action research. It's grounded in the perspectives, preferences, and leadership of survivors. The leaders, Araceli Alonso, Jean Guerin, and Lara Garassi, are continually bringing together leaders, working to build capacity, teaching students, and raising awareness. And finally, a project near and dear to my heart, as you might be able to tell through the photo, is our Women in Translation initiative. This is inspired by the creativity and genius, really, of Dr. Sarli Mercado. And what we do with Women in Translation is we convene scholars, people from a number of disciplines to do collaborative translation. And we're hoping that we're making the texts and ideas in those texts available to English-speaking readers. And what we've learned is that the power of translation, the way it has an ability to connect us, and also the power that we have when we choose texts to be translated, that we're amplifying voice. And so we hope over time to expand this project beyond just Spanish to English, but it's been a very rich collaboration, and it's one more example within the arts of the 4W mindset. I've had a chance to tell you about a few of our programs around the world, and now I'd like to turn to our programs in Africa and ask our 4W Director for Africa, Deborah Kaddu-Serwadda, to tell you about what's been happening and her vision for the future.
Thank you very much, Laurie. I'm really excited to share a little bit about what's been happening in Africa. We have a lot happening, but I'll just share what's been happening in Ghana, Kenya, and talk a little bit about the Yali. In Ghana, we have the Being School Everyday project that is led by Mary Craig. To improve girls' school attendance and provide youth with effective reproductive health education, we partnered with Rotary International and Days for Girls to provide free washable sanitary pads to more than 15,000 junior high school girls in Ghana through this program. Kits include washable pads, soap, panties, a washcloth, and a string backpack to discreetly transport the products. The project also supports enterprise development by training women in nearby communities to make the products locally. In Kenya, we have the Health by All Means project that is led by Araceli Alonso. The Health by All Means program is a multidisciplinary project that creates change from within communities to improve health outcomes, particularly for the well-being of women and girls in the global south. Our purpose here is to provide long-term health training and community health outreach for women and adolescent girls in rural and isolated geographical areas and at-risk communities. We also train women and adolescent girls as community health workers to collaborate with local governments. We use academic knowledge, community engagements, and human capital to achieve health promotion and suitable development from within. The 4W Yali Young African Leadership Initiative Circle is led by Kalkidan Nakiu, a 2018 UW-Madison Mandela Washington Fellow, along with our 4W leader, Rahel Desalegn, and this network consists of over 40 young scholars from across Africa, all of whom engaged with 4W during their Mandela Washington Fellowship for Young African Leaders at UW-Madison. The group hosts monthly webinars and Facebook discussions, and topics have included the Hear Me Too movement about harassment experienced by Mandela Ethiopian doctors, a culture of safety, discussion on the ease for addressing traffic and household accidents, engineering education, enforcement and emergency response, and an exploration of Stolen Paradise, a book written by 2019 UW-Madison Yali Fellow Fola Jugun Akinlami about her journey through life, love, and living with a disability. Additionally, we have discussed COVID-19 safety awareness in South Sudan, as well as efforts to combat sex trafficking in Nigeria. So, given the above experiences I've shared, and this was just part of the work we're doing in Africa, this is really a moment of great opportunity. 4W is already providing a model for leaders around the world. It's tried, it's tested, and it can happen. The 4W Global Vision is aligned with the Global SDG Agenda 2030 and the African Union Agenda 2063. A key aspiration for Agenda 2063 is that Africa shall have an entrenched and flourishing culture of human rights, democracy, gender equality, inclusion, and peace. The Agenda 2063 goal, number 2, is to have well-educated citizens and a skills revolution underpinned by science, technology, and innovation. The African Union has linked this goal to SDG 4, which is to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So we have some initial ideas to share with you. What does 4W in Africa look like? We envision supporting an interdisciplinary collaboration for the promotion of gender equality and women's well-being in African universities. Secondly, we would like to collaborate on curricula and strategies for community engagement and outreach education. Thirdly, we would like to facilitate an academic women leaders South to North research to action network for gender equality and social transformation. And last not least, promote the Wisconsin idea for the well-being of girls and women in Africa. So we're taking baby steps, and the first steps we're making are to identify a sentinel group of African universities that represent the region adequately. This will be followed by assessing the strengths, needs, and priorities for collaboration of African universities. Thirdly, select one or two primary partners to pilot a women and well-being initiative in East Africa. Then share the model for well-being and collaboration as the framework to identify campus leaders who are working on issues that affect women's well-being. This will then be followed by developing a criteria for participation and invite scholars to form a women and well-being leadership circle. And finally, support leaders in development of multidisciplinary research to action projects, grants, or exchanges that address issues and center the lived experiences of women. I am really excited about the possibilities that the 4W initiative presents for Africa. I'm also excited about the possibilities that African universities present for the 4W initiative. In my work with African universities, with women at university level, reaching out especially to civil society over the years, sitting together, trying to figure out how to create a more gender equitable world, there's always been that longing to work in a more coordinated manner. And frankly, I had never come across such a unique program like the 4W initiative. It inspires me as an individual, and I know it can inspire the women in Africa and the African universities. I dare to imagine a new Africa with the 4W initiative working with us.
I'd like to thank everyone for listening. And if you are interested in collaborating with us, either because you're interested in contributing to this new initiative in Africa, or if you know of another university that might be interested in being part of this network of women and well-being initiatives, please feel free to reach out and contact us. I'm really honored to be part of this. I'm very excited about what we can learn and the ways we can grow and the ways that we can bring the strength out of our differences and bring the unity out of our differences as well, to make life better for women and all people, and make the world better for all.